Hey everyone, stay tuned for this video wrap-up of the Arkansas Shrimp Tank, where you're going to learn how to go from a shrimp to a shark in the business world.
Hey everybody, welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Arkansas Shrimp Tank. I'm your host Rich Jensen, along with my co-host David Sims, and our special guest today, Keith Jetton of RazorCity IT. That's RazorCity IT, not RazorCity IT, right? Which we talked about on the podcast. But for those of you who haven't seen a post-show wrap-up before or listened to the Arkansas Shrimp Tank podcast, we try and interview some of the brightest and best entrepreneurs and CEOs in and around the state of Arkansas to find out what they've learned through their successes and also their failures. If you want to catch the entire podcast, go to shrimptankpodcast.com/Arkansas, and you can subscribe to all of our past podcasts on Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and SoundCloud. So
that's right. It's a great show.
Really
I thought about it. I thought this was a very important topic for business owners. You got to know IT and IS, and as we talked about on the podcast, you know, we with BRS that sponsors the show have been trying to get our brains around this issue, and so. And I also said, you know, I love to get free advice, so that's why we do the show. And
I think we established the fact that we haven't paid a vendor in years. We just get free advice on the podcast.
But it was a great show. You really need to listen to the whole podcast. But Keith, let me tee you up on one issue that you talked about that was very, very good. And you talked about, I asked you a question about cybersecurity and what are the common issues you see there. Mm-hmm. And you talked about antivirus and artificial intelligence issues. Why don't you share with our viewers what you said there on the podcast?
Well, what I mentioned on cybersecurity is it's a multi part where we start with the firewall as one of the pieces to combat cybersecurity. Then we have the antivirus, and then AI, which is artificial intelligence. It's kind of the newer thing to add onto a device or a computer, where it's actually watching the computer and seeing what the computer has done in the past, and then can react when something happens. Something is open. Something is some behavior is different
something
from
abnormal.
Abnormal.
Huh.
It's almost like when you get an alert from your credit card company. Are you really in Paris right now?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if I want that. I think they say, "Hey man, what are you doing watching the soccer game, man?"
It's work hours. It's work hours.
That's right. That's right.
Well, at least when you asked about artificial intelligence, you didn't use me as an example. Keith, you also talked about something, a VCIO or a virtual CIO, and he said that's really what your firm does. So share with our viewers what that is and what you mean by that.
Sure. Well, basically a CIO is a hired individual as a chief information officer, whereas the virtual CIO is more of a remote individual or a group of individuals that can advise and do all the things that a CIO would do. So as far as helping you make business decisions using technology, particular software, hardware, different things to go on, and be that middleman between a lot of those vendors and your business, that's kind of what we do from that side of it.
Yeah, and it was really interesting, to hear you talk about that on the podcast. And I asked you, how much does a CIO cost? Could be $30,000, $100,000. I loved hearing about the fact it only costs $50 a month to get you, man.
That's right.
Got an outsourced CIO. That's awesome. No, I didn't really say that on the podcast, but
but David's angling for it.
So anyway, the other one of the other things that we wanted to talk on the video wrap up was the difference between, what are the common IT issues that you see with startup companies or businesses. You talked about hardware differences and a couple of differences. Share with our viewers what you shared up on the podcast there.
Well, the what I mentioned about hardware is there's a difference in when you purchase hardware at a local vendor that is typically for a home use. It's not for a business use. It's more for just somebody that needs something at home for their kids or to run a small business out of their house. But if you're serious about your business, then you need business equivalent hardware. So the operating system is different, the software that comes on it is different, and the warranty and things like that are a better quality of device.
So don't be penny wise and pound foolish.
Yes, sir.
You might have to pay a little bit more, but you really get what you
It
pay
will
for.
last longer. It'll do you better in the long run,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, if you listen to the podcast, you'll find out that Keith's shirt says Arkansas Razorbacks NCAA champ 1994. So I asked him if that was a 25-year-old T-shirt. So you watch the video. It's not.
It is not. It is not.
You have the answer. Well, Keith, we want to
Big
thank
hog
you.
fans.
There you go.
Big hog fan.
I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. For folks who want to find out more about Razor City IT, maybe what you do, maybe they want to even find out if they could use your services, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you or the company?
You can email me directly, Keith at Razor City IT, or you can search at Razor City IT on the internet, social media, and that's the @ symbol, not AT.
Okay.
Since we were talking about it and IT earlier.
I really encourage you to get in touch with him. He's a lot of great knowledge he shared on the podcast and, of course, before the show. And so, yeah, it was a great show. And
And if you promise to put him on your podcast, he'll do all your IT for free, right?
Yeah, something like that.
we're offering all your services.
Hey, if you want to catch the entire podcast, go to Arkansas Shrimp Tank. I always do that. I'm learning.
That's
though.
right. It's changed, hasn't it? That's right.
ShrimpTankPodcast.com/Arkansas
Arkansas,
because
that's
we
right.
are so nationally syndicated now. We're in about 10 cities, so we had to start delineating them by city.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Or just Google Arkansas Shrimp Tank. It'll
yeah,
come
you'll
up.
find it that way too. Until next week, stay safe and remember to become a shark in the business world. We all start out as shrimp.